here because there's 9 permanent positions. There is also a temporary contract posted. You're wondering probably why I'm here. I was hired as an early resolution officer, which is now known as an employment standards officer. I applied to the government about 1 million times, easy, and was never, ever, ever screened for an interview and couldn't understand why. And I'm thinking, why don't they like me? I'm good, hire me. Until about 2 years ago, I came to an information session just like this, and I learned how to do the resume. That was the trick. There is a trick to this resume. Most places, it's 1-page cover letter, maybe 2 pages of a resume. Not so much here. It's a little bit longer, and once I learned how to do it, first application I put in was for an employment standards officer position. I got a call for the interview. I was so happy I started to cry. I could not believe it that they actually called me for an interview after being rejected so many times. And I went for the interview, and here I am. Started off as the early resolution officer. I'm now an employment standards officer 2. I've been doing this in this role probably about a year now. I'm acting in it, and it's a great place to work, and I hope that everybody has a chance to come out and see this presentation tonight. And for those that don't, definitely spread the word and get them to get on the internet and see the presentation at least and apply. So a description of the job. So we're looking at to seek voluntary compliance with the employment standards legislation. Your duties would include such things as providing general information such as overtime rates, 4% vacation pay, simple things like that. It's just a bit of information that some people don't know about. And then specific advice, not so much advice, sorry, specific information to your clients that you're dealing with, to the employees that you're dealing with, and to the employers. And you're also going to be able to explain legislation and how it relates to the claim that these people have made. And also refer to other sources. Some people file claims looking for things as simple as their record of employment. So just be able to tell them where they need to go to get that information and how to obtain it. Is this better? Okay, so for the qualifications, we're looking for interpersonal skills, conflict resolution skills, knowledge and ability to investigate these claims. We're also looking for well-developed oral and written skills, because you will have to write a reasons for decision of why you made a decision in a claim and explain yourself and explain it to the legislation involved. You're going to have some experience with accounting and financial, different business systems, but not to the extent that you're thinking, I'm not an accountant, I don't know how to do this type of calculations. It's not something to be fearful of. You will be taught all the techniques and all the skills that you need to learn to perform the job well. You'll also need to know human resources, be able to interpret and understand and apply the legislation to the claim you're investigating. And you're also going to have to be able to gather and organize the information to put it in a sequence of events so you can understand what the investigation is trying to lead to, in the sense of when you're making a determination, to go through step by step what occurred, what happened, and is anything owing at the end of the day. Let's see. And then the advanced computer skills, we have an in-house system that we use. It's our in-house platform, and you'll be trained on how to use that. Everything that you need to know for this job, qualification-wise, it's very specific in the job ad. Speak to all of the qualifications in your resume and in your cover letter, and a lot of this stuff you may think, auditing and accounting I haven't done before, but it's not difficult math, it's simple math. In the sense that once you have the skills, you are given all the tools you need to perform well in the job. So why Ministry of Labor? So I'm going to invite John Chow up to come and speak. He's an employment standards officer with us, and he can explain what his duties are and why he likes his role with the ministry.
Hi and welcome. It's nice to see that we have a nice turnout today and all you people want to work with us, and we gladly welcome some help. My presentation is a bit long, but my time is short. Monique wants me to be very short so she can have some of my time, but I'm going to be reading an awful lot of what I've written down here because if I added it, we'll be here much too long. A while back, Carrie asked me to participate in this information session and to tell you briefly a little bit about the life of a Level 1 officer and what we do and my thoughts about the job, and also to tell you why I think that the Ministry of Labor and specifically the Provincial Claims Center is a good place to work. I really don't think it's a good place to work. I think it's a great place to work if you really think about it. And if you ask any of the employees that work there, I think they can reiterate that particular comment. The reason I think it's a great place to work is I have a nice modern, well-equipped cubicle. I have an ergonomic chair with a headrest. The working environment, staff commitment to the job, and the overall attitude is second to none. I get to work on my own, basically at my own pace and in my own way, because officers do the same job, but we all go about it in a different manner. We don't have management looking over our shoulders all the time. There's a great deal of genuine respect between officers, processors, site administrators, program assistants, and management. The job is a challenge and calls upon you to utilize a range of skills that you never thought you ever had or would ever use. The job's not boring. Each claim is different, and time on the job passes quickly, sometimes too quickly. There's a high degree of professionalism on the job with respect to the complex nature of the work, and most of all, it's a great place to work, I feel, is because I have an opportunity to help people. So I've been with the Ministry of Labor at the Claims Center, I guess, since it opened over 2 years ago, and I can honestly tell you it's a very exciting period of my life, in my work life. I've been around the block a couple of times career-wise, and I can also tell you that this is one of the best rides that I've been on. The officers at the Claims Center have varying backgrounds and careers, education, age, and cultural heritage. We have officers that have very recent grads and officers who are in their second, third, or fourth careers. Officers are hired strictly by the guidelines set out in the competitive process and nothing else. So it's very important that you listen and act on the information that you hear today. A lot of employers do talk a good game, but I truly feel that this employer, especially at the Claims Center, both talks and walks a good game, and the Claims Center is as good as it gets. And I believe that my fellow co-workers, and especially myself, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Okay, I'm not going to go through the information concerning what we do because it's already been outlined to you, and it is in the documents that were on the job ad and specifications. I'm just going to briefly tell you a little bit about how we go about doing it. We must ensure that natural justice prevails. That is, we have to hear both sides of a story and remain neutral while attempting to make an assessment of the situation. Because as officers, we're the initial point of contact with the claimant and the employer, and this is where the investigation process begins. So we initiate telephone calls to claimants and employers to listen to their side of the story, and gather evidence from either party, and we can request documentation or evidence to support their particular positions. Now, you've all heard that there are two sides to every story. We know that that's how we operate, but we sometimes like to think that there might be a third side of it, which just happens to be the truth somewhere between those two stories. Officers gather information from other parties relevant to the investigation. We analyze the various types of documentation from the parties, such as payroll documents, contracts, documents from other government ministries and departments. And using the best available evidence, the officers will make an assessment of the claim and then make a decision as to the direction the claim will proceed. We also have to maintain accurate and concise notes in the Employment Standards Information Case Management System, and we also have to follow a very strict procedural guideline as outlined by the Ministry in the investigative process.